Hey guys, Travis here. Day two, week 9 of the summer split of the LCS. So sort of wrapping things up here right at the end of the season. Joined by Dyrus of TSM, following your guys' win at the end of this day. You guys are now 3-0. So go ahead and talk to me. Are you guys going to be able to do the 5-0 sweep that you did at last week of the spring split as well?
Well, it's kind of hard to say because for our first three wins, it was the last three teams, and now for our next two wins, it's going to be the top two teams, and that's a pretty big leap. Um, I'm also pretty concerned about how good Vulcan has got, and we'll see what happens when we play them.
Yeah, so we should say you just beat Curse, and then you're about to go up against, again, like you said, Vulcan, C9, the top two of the league. So are you more concerned about Vulcan than C9? I've heard this, that some teams are saying they're more concerned about Vulcan these days than C9.
Personally, right now I'm more concerned about Vulcan because we scrimmed against C9 a lot more than Vulcan, and we kind of know what they do. They kind of know what we do, and I feel like the 310 patch has hurt them a little bit. All their really strong characters and heroes that they've been using for a long time, even the patches before, they just constantly keep getting nerfed. And now they're forced to change their playstyle just a little bit, but they still have the same good mentality, same good teamwork, just different heroes that they have to get used to. As for Vulcan, they're still evolving with their ever growing potential, and it's pretty scary because all of their players are playing phenomenally well, especially their jungler. And the jungler is a huge impact on the game. So Vulcan's probably going to be the toughest match for us. Not because not because they beat C9 or because C9 is better or worse, but because we're not sure what to expect from them when it comes to playing against them compared to playing to other teams.
You just feel more comfortable even than going up against Cloud9 than Vulcan, just because you've played them previously.
Yeah, so I'm way more comfortable because my previous games against Cloud9 and some other teams have been way worse than nowadays. My individual performance has gotten out of the slump, so now I just need a little bit more of a push for just doing better as an individual. But our teamwork has gotten a lot better, and I don't know how Vulcan will play against us compared to other teams because we have a good track record or track history against Vulcan. And the times that we've lost was also because one of them was a really dumb, like, 0-4 start. And the other times, like, I don't know. I just see them being really good right now. I'm very interested in playing them.
You referenced that Vulcan's jungler Xmithia has gotten pretty good. This was actually a conversation that was had earlier today. So, in what ways specifically do you think that he's gotten better? Is he just applying more pressure, or what's the deal with him?
Normally, when I watch games of Vulcan and Xmithia jungles, he usually gets pushed back by pressure. Like, I don't know, he just does the dumbest things sometimes, even though he's a really good player all around. For example, the last time we played against Vulcan, they three-man tower dived me, and I got a double kill. And that was because Smithy did blue and just dove bottom. Like, that's just very terrible decision making, and it can't really get that much worse than that. So I'm assuming he had like a revelation or something, and he looked back at all of his plays, and I was told that his coach tells him about how he plays, and you know now he's pressuring the map more and making the correct decision. He's not doing those stupid things.
So now there's a potential for him to sort of come out and for Vulcan to be even perhaps a bigger opponent, stronger opponent than the last time you played them?
Yes, because the jungler is a huge part of the game. One of the main things about the game is giving a jungler a good start, like whether you give him a buff, two buffs, three buffs, or like for the Dig versus C9 game at the start of the split, four buffs. But depending on how good of a leash you get and how much pressure your team provides for you, you can get a certain advantage and use certain things to your advantage, and you constantly tower dive, counter jungle, kill the jungler one-on-one, counter gank. Like, there's so much potential for junglers because if you just had something in your mind telling you where you should go, where it's 100% guaranteed kill or, high percent of counter ganking or anything, there's so much things to think about as a jungler, and it's really, really stressful. So the junglers, like, they have bottomless potential to become even better than they are.
We, for fans that just watched that game, they'll be familiar with a certain flash over a wall that Wildturtle decided to make. Can you play-by-play that for me? Because you were in there, you were in the game, so just sort of tell me how that played out, especially even for people that weren't watching.
All right, so before that moment, we kind of died a little bit. Like, we threw a little bit, so we gave like 3 kills, so we lost a buff and some pressure on mid tower. But going back into it, it's like, all right, just group. Baron's cleared. Let's just go pressure Baron. Dragon's going to be up soon. No, let's just go to Baron. Walking over to Baron, and Turtle's like, we can cut this guy off. We can kill Nunu. And Nunu is clearly, obviously out of range. And I'm like, dude, we can't kill him. Just go to Baron. And then Nunu got away, and he's like, oh, my God, cut this Nami off. Get him. And then it's like, all right. So we started to follow him. And he's like, all right, he already killed Nami with probably the poison. And then after he killed him, he flashed over the wall. And from that moment, I was like, this is the beginning of a big throw. And Turtle is very good when it comes to like challenging things in terms of like how far he can go. But there's some times where his calls are a little bit too overboard. And the moment he flashed over, I had to make a really rough decision. What goes through my mind is, number 1, what the hell is he doing? Number 2, should I flash over the wall? Number 3, are we about to throw this game really hard? The thing I hate most in League of Legends is when your team throws a game, whether it's solo queue or even your team in a competitive match, when we're far ahead and we can easily get Baron. And the last thing in my mind is, if I flash over, will we be able to kill them anyways? Right. And there's many things that apply. The first thing I said was like, I'm not following that. That is some next level shit. Yeah. Like, that is like, I have never seen that before in my entire life, except for in like Bronze 5 or something crazy. And then what actually happened was Xpecial followed up, and then
like a true support just going in.
His reasoning behind that was he could actually get a kill, or he could probably save it for a little bit longer. So it wasn't too bad of him. He just wasted flash. And then Oddwin was like, F it, just go. And then I was like, peace. Like, see you guys, I'm out. I'm not throwing this game. Like, it was just so out of context. Like, I'll probably flash over the next time I see it if we're in the same position, because if I flashed over, we probably could have killed them all, honestly. But it's like, that kind of call is so way out there. You don't really see that stuff every day. And when Reggie's like, my ult's down, just come get Baron. When we're communicating more, sometimes when people are ahead, like my bad habit was, if I'm like legendary or something, I'll start making calls and they'll be really bad. And I'll make a stupid call, and then we'll probably like throw the game off of that. And then I feel like that's what Turtle was. I don't know, his solo queue. He's just getting bored because we're slowly into the game. Right. And, it's a good evening out of passive and aggressive for us, because Reggie's aggressive, Turtle's aggressive, and I'm kind of like passive-aggressive, Xpecial's passive-aggressive, and then Oddone just listens to everyone else.
I have heard that Xpecial's passive-aggressive on Reddit. I look at the comments, and they love to call him passive-aggressive, so I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm a little bit of that too, and mostly in game, but it's a good
mostly in game.
Right. It's a good balance of our team, because when we're way too aggressive, we can throw too hard, and if we're way too passive, we're not getting anything done. So we finally found that balance in our communication and calls, and we're just working on it. So after that happened, it was just, like Oddone said in the interview, it was a dead silence for 30 seconds, and I was just telling him that was some next level shit. Yeah. And then I was like, all right, let's just focus on the next thing. Please do not do that again. We don't have to throw. We're still way ahead. Just refocusing on the game. Like, we lose a dragon. We pressure Baron. Reggie sacrifices himself for Baron. We just go back to buy, and then we, just end the game because they fought us.
All right, that's I like that. That's a pretty good wrap up. So you don't want So at the end of this interview, you don't want to pull like a double lift and say TSM 5-0, no problem.
What did he say? CLG 5-0.
Yeah, he likes to do that kind of thing.
I mean, it's good to have confidence. I like that. I don't think. I think realistically, like I said before when you interviewed me before, I'm thinking 4-1 because we're probably going to beat the bottom 3 teams, and it's kind of 50-50 for the top 2 teams.
Okay. So you think you'll win one, lose one?
Yes, it's a pretty realistic, and it's pretty fair to say that we'll win one and we'll lose one.
You have any shout-outs, plugs, anything you want to say to sort of wrap up the interview?
I'd like to give out a shout out to all our sponsors on the Qualcomm, the Snapdragon processor, Gunner, Origin PC, Corsair, Asus, Astro, and
How about that
HyperX. Yeah, so you didn't even need to tell me that. I know.
I know you know. I just get excited because I know what's coming. For everyone, this is Travis at the end of day 2 of week 9 of the summer split of the LCS. You can check out the rest of our coverage of the LCS and all things esports at gamespot.com/esports.